Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my home. We're sitting in my dining room tonight. It's thundering and lightning outside. It's getting dim out there. The hurricane Isaias, I think is the name of the right hurricane, is coming up the coast, and we're here in New Jersey and we're just getting some rain tonight. It's really not supposed to hit us until tomorrow. More of a tropical storm, but I thought, you know what? It's a great time with that in mind to just go over some more stockpile items, more for an emergency situation. I know we've been talking a lot of pandemic stuff and stockpiles for that, but you know what? Let's just talk life. Let's put the pandemic over there and emergencies here and whatnot. Just generally in life, we should always be prepared for different things. So I thought, what are some of the things that we probably, I didn't think of that. Oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, I didn't think of this, until we're in the middle of a situation. A number of years ago, many of you, I'm sure, have heard of Hurricane Sandy. It hit New Jersey pretty hard, and the area that I was in, it wasn't so much Sandy that hit us, but right after that, I think it was 2 days later, 3 days later, I don't even remember now, we were hit with a snowstorm. It was like a fluke thing. And that knocked the power out in our area. And our house in the little town that we live in, which is not a very big town, we were literally the last house in the town to get their power back on, and it was 3.5 weeks. You know, if you go without power for 24 hours, you go out without it for 4 to 6 hours is tough. 24, but 3.5 weeks, that was tough going. And I learned a few lessons. So take note, Lynn Wilson. Remember the things that you learned. Don't panic over it, but just try and be as prepared as you can. Now, does that mean you're going to have everything perfectly and in place? Absolutely not. That's when you learn to be flexible. Sometimes you learn to do without. Sometimes you learn to do with what you have. So you might hear some of that thunder in the background. So I thought, let me go over some of the things in a stockpile, preparedness, things that, you know, we just don't always think about, and things that we forget. So I don't have any rhyme or reason to this, so I'm going to go through it. My last stockpile video, we talked about having recipes, and see my beautiful candle, by the way. I just picked this up this weekend. It is pumpkin spice latte, but I'm going to move it out of the way because as wonderful as it smells, it's bothering my allergies, so let me get that out of the way. But the last stockpile video we did, we talked about having recipes on hand. Some of your basic everyday things that you can go to in a situation of you don't have much money, you don't have, you know, a variety of foods. What can you make that are simple, or maybe your favorite recipes that are comfort foods during a bad time? And somebody left me a note, one of the comments, and I thought it was so cool. She said, what if the internet goes down and I can't get on Pinterest, or I can't look up a recipe? What a great idea. Absolutely. So in the 3.5 weeks where we were down with no power, I could not get on the internet. So my recipes came in handy. So that doesn't mean print up every recipe maybe, but you know, have a handful. So that made me think of, if you have a planner, right now I am using it smells so good, a traveler's notebook. But in here, do you have emergency phone numbers listed? So many of us, if you're like me, yes, we store, I don't even know my oldest son's phone number. If I had somebody says, what's his number? I don't know, I just hit his name and it comes up. But you know what? If you're out of power or whatever the case might be, have a place like your planner, maybe a note on the refrigerator. I know that sounds old school, but so many of us don't do that anymore because we're all into tech stuff. And I've got it in my phone, I have it in my iPad, whatever. Basic phone numbers, carry them in your wallet, carry them in your planner. Somewhere that you know that the power's down, you don't have a phone, you're going to be good. The other thing is, for example, my husband takes medication. So what if there's an emergency and, what medication does he need it? Now you can't always stock up on medication, but one thing you could do is start ordering it, find out how soon you can order it. So if the prescription runs out, let's say on the 30th of the month, but he can order it as early as the 20th. That then, if you can continue to do that, that will build a small stockpile of medication for you so that you always have a little bit extra and you're ahead of the game. So that's a good thing to do. My husband and I carry a small bottle of 3 days worth. And I've been getting very neglectful of that. I usually carry that in my tote bag so that no matter where we are, if there's an emergency, I have 3 days worth of pills for him. He has epilepsy. So this is not something I can say, oh, he has a headache, I can get Tylenol somewhere. He needs seizure medication. That is something that's important. If he doesn't have it, he could go right into a seizure. But as well, in addition to the medicine, keep the information. I don't know how many times we've gone to the hospital and I'm like, oh no, and they ask me, what medication is he on? I don't remember. So when you go to the pharmacist and you get that little piece of paper that comes with the meds, I like to take the, it's perforated at the top, the little snippet you can get, throw that in my wallet. I actually laminate that on an index card. If I go to the hospital, there's a situation, you can't think. I remember my husband, oh, maybe it's now 4 years ago, he cut off, yes, this is gross, but he cut off the top of his ear. He had a seizure and he landed near something that had the tiniest pinhole of a nail sticking out to the point where I couldn't barely feel it with my finger. But he landed and it sliced the top of his ear off. Needless to say, we landed in the emergency room, and because I had that, I couldn't think. I'm looking at his ear, he's in pain. You know what it's like. You go blank. I was able to whip that out. It has his doctor's name on it, his doctor's phone number, the medication he's on, and they were so thankful because how do you even pronounce some of these medications? They didn't have to ask me anything. Here it is. They can photocopy it. We were good to go. So there are some ideas there. The other thing I mentioned, a phone. Okay, always try. I'm the worst. I am the absolute worst. Have your phone charged. Now, in a normal day, you might not, you run low, but especially when you know there's going to be a storm coming, try and make sure that that is charged. We learned in Sandy, our phones only hold a charge so long, and after that, what do? Power's out. We then purchased an additional charger. And this one has, it says 100% down to 25%. You plug your cord in here, you plug your charger into your phone with your phone cord. You can adapt this to an iPhone or a Android phone, it doesn't matter. This one can charge my phone 4 times. So we learned very quickly after that, have an additional power pack charger. Don't depend on your electric to be able to charge your phone. So let's see what else we can do. Okay, so phone chargers are good. Now, in addition to a phone charger, one thing that we have in our van, and this might be an option for you, I think it was like $99 at Walmart, and I don't know what you call it, but it's a charger thing. It's only about yay big with a handle. You can pump up tires with it. You can charge your battery with it. It has an electrical outlet so you can plug a lamp into it. It has a USB port so you can charge this or this there. It has an emergency flasher light. I forget. It does a bunch of stuff. And I think it's $99. Yes, it's a little pricey, so if you're on a budget, maybe you have to save towards it. But that's another option for you. You're in the car, you're on the road, you get a flat tire, you need your battery charged. I don't know how many times we have used that to charge a battery in our old van. It kept battery after battery, situations came up. You can plug your phone, you can plug a lamp. It's another option for you to think about. Some of those things maybe not, this is not expensive. These you can get one of these that'll charge your phone one time for $5 at the Target Bullseye, I think they call it. Dollar Spot used to be the name. But you can, or Five and Below. They have them for $5. Not as big as this, but it charges your phone one time. Listen, one time would last you a while. Okay, what are some other things that we can think about? Candles, okay? I did light my candle, so I'll hold that up so you can see it. Make sure you have some candles around the house. Not everybody's into candles for decorative purposes like I am, but just have some basic old-fashioned emergency candles. Have lighters. Do you have a lighter? Every time I go to the Dollar Tree, I try and pick one extra up. I'd rather have a stash of 10 of these in the house than not. How many times have I been in the situation of we're out of lighters. How can we be out of lighters? So I've learned to try and pick these up. Also, matches are a good option. I would not necessarily like to use those because they're short. You can burn your fingers. This is a better alternative to me. But a box of matches is a great idea. And Homestead Tessie, I was watching the one day, and she puts hers in a mason jar. She said this way, nothing's exposed, nothing can rub off, mice can't nibble at it, whatever the case might be. I thought that's a great idea, and it keeps it dry. So maybe do that. Oil lamps. Maybe you're not into that, but oil lamps. Think it to yourself, alternative lighting. You need to be able to see an oil lamp. We would love to get one of those real large propane lamps. I think they're about $150. That's something we're saving toward. We have friends that are Amish. They put those in their living room. If you know about the Amish, they don't have electricity. Let me tell you, when they light this baby up, the whole house is lit up. It's wonderful. And it generates some good heat from it as well. So an alternative to heat, that's an option for you. So another thing to think about, and I brought this, it's a propane canister. So what would you do if the power goes out? How can you make a meal? If you have a gas stove, good for you. I wish I did. I don't in this house. But what could you do? We have a fireplace. So I have a grate that I can put in there. I have a cast iron pot. I'd love to get a skillet, but I have the pot right now. But I can boil water in that. I can make spaghetti. I have canned items I can dump in there, canned soup, whatever. I could make a meal if I had to versus just peanut butter and jelly or cheese and crackers. Yes, that's a good thing. But an alternative maybe for cooking, maybe you have a camp stove. Outside you have a grill. This goes to our little barbecue grill. So I can cook meat out there. I can roast vegetables out there. I could put the cast iron pot on that. And I could cook some things up there as well. So that's an option for you. So one thing I always suggest is grab a notebook and start jotting these ideas down, because if you're like me, you think you got it together, and then you listen to somebody and I'm like, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. So maybe jot some of these things down. And I'll tell you, leave a comment below if there's something I've missed or I haven't said that you think is a good idea. Put it in the comments, because I'm noticing everybody is starting to read the comments and kind of reply to each other, which is great. Let's build a community of information here and let's help each other out. We don't have to be alone in this. So, okay, I'm not going to go in any rhyme or reason here, but I'm trying to pull things out and talk quickly so the video is not too long. Flashlights. Yes, we all know to have flashlights, but we forget about the batteries. So check your flashlight, okay? I don't want to shine that in your eyes, but you can see on my hand, it's a good flashlight. Have a really good flashlight. That is one thing that's worth the investment. This thing, you can't really see it, but if you go out at night, you can see pretty well. Carry one of these. If you carry a tote bag, I'm a woman, we all seem to have tote bags, but carry one in your tote bag. You don't know where you're going to be, carry one in the car. Have one by your nightstand. We have a designated area. One day I'll do a tour of my home, and we have a cabinet. It's got like 5 little cubbies with doors, and the one is where we keep our flashlights and our batteries. Power goes out, we all know right where to go. We have a designated spot. Grab your flashlight, grab a battery, whatever you might need. My husband periodically checks. He does an inspection. We get the batteries we need to restock, and also he fills up our flashlights, so we have those. We have this little gadget. It is a I forget how you do it. My husband knows how to do this. Well, I'm not gonna oh, there we go. And you crank it, and I don't know if I cranked it enough. Let's see. No, but anyway, you crank this, and I have a huge light. I can go this way, or I could put it on the table and it has the light here, but I don't need batteries. This is just a crank. So this is a good thing to put in the car, but in the house, just crank it up, and I don't need the batteries. I can just do this. Again, I have a spotlight if I have to go outside. I've got a little light here we can sit on the table. So maybe that's another option for you as well. What are some other things that we think about, like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but we don't think about getting it? So here's some baby wipes. Right now, the adult wipes, I guess you'd call them, cleaning cloths, you know, because of the pandemic, everything's out. But maybe if you don't have those, get some baby wipes. Power goes out, you can wash your face, you can freshen up, if you know what I mean. You know, you don't want to be stinky too much all day, but just have some type of an alternative without having to have running water. You might not have running water, and the water that you have bottled and so on you might want for drinking and all that. So just have some type of wipes that you can use. You know, have one per person. This would get you through a few days for each person. Baby wipes you can get at Dollar Tree. Not a huge pack, but it's a decent sized pack. It's not skimpy. This one I purchased at Lidl's, and I paid $1.59 for it. So, you know, to get, if you got one a week, it has 80 wipes in it, unscented, and you get one a week, $1.59 a week. Stock up on that. We talked about lighters, chargers, phones. What else do we have here? Let me think. Okay, we talked about, I think in the last one, about toiletries. Stock up on toothpaste. Not so much for an emergency, but we had the pandemic, and you know, you get ill, your kids are sick, you're out of work, money's tight. I'm still working less hours, so my budget is tighter. I thought it was tight before. You know what's amazing? I learned from Andrea Mills, and if you watched her channel, she's passed away, but I've learned so much from her. And when I get to heaven someday, she's one person. Her and I, we're going to chat. I want to get to meet this woman. I want to talk with her. By then, all the things that I learned on earth won't matter, but I just think she's a fascinating woman. And one of the things she said, there's always enough. And she said, if you have this much food and you have 4 people, you eat this much. You have this much food and you have 8 people, eat a little less, but there's always enough. And I remembered her saying that, and she just kept life very simple. So toothpaste, you know, if you're running low, you know how to stretch it out. There's always enough, but at some point you're going to get to the point where you're going to run out of toothpaste, and yes, you can use baking soda. Worst comes to worst, you use water and just rinse your mouth, but you don't want to be doing that. But you know, when things are tight, and I was saying my budget, I thought was tight before. It's tighter now. I'm working less hours, but somehow there is always enough. We are getting by. We're making things work. We're learning to be more frugal with what we cook, how we cook it, not wasting food. And you know, even thinking, do I really need to buy that this week? Could that have waited? What should I get? But when I go to the Dollar Tree, I try and buy the kids' Crest toothpaste for my son. He likes the flavor of that. But I try and pick up 2 of these. There's certain things when I go to Dollar Tree, automatic, I just pick up. And toothpaste is one of them. I like to have 6 or 8 in the cabinet. That sounds like a lot, but you know what? Then I don't have to shop for it for a while. So that's something. Shampoo, conditioner, I don't know what, you know, how often you wash your hair, but if you only have 1 bottle, what is the saying? 1 is none and 2 is 1, because once you have 2 items and you use 1, you have 1 left. If you have 1 item and you use it, you have none left. So always stock up. These are at the Dollar Tree. Dollar General, they're also $1. So ShopRite, Stop and Shop, Kroger's, I don't know what's in your area. Get some stuff that's on sale. I'm not saying go out and spend tons of money, but take your notebook, make a list. So what are some of these things maybe you don't have in your stockpile? You know, I never thought of putting shampoo. Well, do that. Make sure you have, I would say on an average, 4 of every item. If you could have 4 toothpaste, 4 extra shampoos, and so on, that always gives you enough to get through for the next couple of months. So that's an option for you. Hand soap. That sounds silly, hand soap. Oh, we all have hand soap. Well, I'll tell you, I ran out of hand soap. And during the pandemic, that was a hard thing to find. So it was like, okay, stock up on hand soap. To me, this is something I'd probably want about 10 of. We have 2 bathrooms. We have 3 to 5 people in the house, depending, plus other people my husband counsels. And, you know, if you have people stopping over or company, hand soap is something you don't want to run out of, whether you use the bar soap or you use the pump, whatever you use. Just have extras of those. Okay, another thing, I make my own, for the most part, I make my own laundry detergent. So make sure I have a, this is the Napa, Phil's Napa bar that you can grind down. have this and whatever you use to make the next batch. So when my batch is about halfway, I know it's time to make a new batch. Well, one thing I had a hard time finding was the washing soda, Arm & Hammer washing soda, to add to this to make my own laundry detergent. So I couldn't find it for a couple weeks. I ended up buying laundry detergent in the interim, but now I just found this and I found the washing soda, so I'm good. So again, if you have 1 jug of washing soda, laundry detergent that you're using, make sure you have an extra 1 or 2 on hand. I use vinegar in every load of wash that I do. Cleans, it sanitizes, it purifies, it takes out the funky smells from teenage boys and anything else. It's a good fabric softener, and so I use a cup of that in every load of laundry. So I just need to make sure I always have extra jugs of detergent and vinegar on hand. Okay, what are some other things? Hand sanitizer, hard thing to come by for a while. Make sure you have this or some type of an alternative. Yeah, soap and water is great too. But if you're in a situation where maybe you need to have hand sanitizer, now all the stores are stocking up. Pick up a few just to have it on hand. That's not a bad thing. Medications. I just grabbed this one. This is from the Dollar Tree. This is for stomach relief, heartburn, indigestion, nausea, etc., etc. Have different alternatives. Maybe your sinus medicine, cold medicine, Tylenols, Advils, children's meds, something like this for sour tummies, Tums, whatever. Again, you know your family, you know yourself. Whatever you would normally use, make sure you have those items. And what I do is I make it a rule every season, winter, spring, summer, fall, I go through the medicine cabinet. I check expiration dates. I pitch anything that's no good, and I make sure I have something fresh. So you don't want to have, this stuff basically loses its potency than anything else, but you want to keep that fresh. But having stuff like this in a situation where, you can't get out, there's whatever, an emergency situation, having stuff on hand like that is good. Rubbing alcohol was hard to find. So something like that, if you did not have it during the pandemic, you also could not find it. It is now out and about in the stores. Pick up one. $1. This one was $2. Just have it. You have a situation of a cut. You need to clean something. You want to make cleaning solution. I recommend that. A first aid kit. Sounds silly. Well, why would you have that? I keep one of these on the door of my car, and I have one for each person in the house, that if we had to go an emergency backpack, I can throw one of these in for each person, and we have it. It has the different types of bandages. What else does this one carry? Alcohol wipes, gauze pads, bandages, different kinds, and it also has the Neosporin type cream that you can put on. So this is a travel size. It's in a hard, I don't want to really open it, but it's in a nice hard case. You can just refill it. I got these at the Dollar Tree, so that might be an option. So what else can we think of? I don't know. I tried to think of all the alternative lighting, alternative cooking, toiletries, medications, alternative ways of giving yourself a bath if you need it, ways to charge your phone, make sure it's charged, make sure you have a charger, have some cash on you, have some pocket change on you. I know a lot of people don't do cash, but if the systems are down and maybe you could pay by cash, or I don't know, just think through that. It doesn't hurt to have those things on you. Again, don't take this as a panic thing, but take this as a preparation thing. We want to be as well prepared as we can for any situation. This is just general life stuff. Taking care of yourself and your family, whoever lives in your home. And if you're by yourself, do the same thing. Just because you're by yourself in your home and you don't have other people living with you doesn't mean that you shouldn't be just as prepared to take care of you. Listen, I think you guys are wonderful. I thank you for stopping by. Know that God loves you to pieces. He created you a unique and special person, and He gave us brains. He's giving us wisdom. He's giving us knowledge. Let's be prepared in doing what we can do. And if you're on a tight budget, start small and just build up on it. Thank you so much for the great comments. If you haven't left a comment, go back and see my other video. I am now over 100 subscribers. I'm so excited. I'm on my way. I think this is great, but I have a small gift giveaway to say thank you for all of those that have been coming alongside of me. So if you're interested in getting your name in that entry, I will close it off 9 o'clock Thursday night, so go back and listen to how to enter that small gift giveaway. You can see that on one of my latest videos, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.